Running out of buttons? Need to use your cell phone or tablet or something else that's on your wireless network that's a touch screen? And want to be able to control any part of the aircraft? Well, Hangar Control's got the solution for you. Today, I'm going to be using my TBM 850 as my example, as I make a custom switch box that I can use on my tablet or on my cell phone to save me a few buttons. Stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire SIM stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. All right, folks, so here's what we're doing today. I need a easy way to configure a lot of my favorite aircraft from my test bed, in which case is my desk. I have my big cockpit that has a plethora of buttons, switches, everything that I could need to bind any aircraft. But here on the desk, where I do a lot of my work and testing, well, that's not quite so simple. And so today, when I was doing some testing flying around for another video that's about to release, which you guys will have to stay tuned for, it dawned on me that I need something to fly my favorite aircraft with. The TBM 850, even though they're aircraft that come very, very close, and they all happen to be Black Square, the TBM 850 is still my favorite aircraft for the longer haul flights. But things like the anti-ice and inertial separator, things like my oxygen and airflow system, pressurization system, and the overhead panel, of course, are things that I don't have bound to anything. So today, we're going to take care of that. We're going to use the touch panel feature within inside of Hangar Control that I can use on any local window, any local touch screen that's connected to your PC via USB, or anything on your wireless network, your cell phone, iPad, Kindle, anything that has a web browser on it that happens to be a touch screen. Now, you don't have to use a touchscreen, but not using a touchscreen would sort of defeat the purpose. So, let's get right into it, because I want to get rolling here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make sure our service is started. We're going to make sure we are part of our Black Square TBM 850. Apparently, I never bound this profile. Let's go ahead and do that now. And we're going to go to the touch panel. And these are touch panels that are created for other services. Like, for example, I could use a GNS 530 if I wanted to with this one, which is ready to go. But we're going to actually add a new touch panel. So we're going to create a new touch panel here. And let's go ahead and get this show rolling. Let's see here. What do I want to do here? So what I'm looking to do, and I think we're just going to sort of build it from top to bottom. It's going to be fairly simple. I'm not looking for a whole lot. But we're going to do our lights. I'm not going to worry about things like the gyros and stuff. I mean, maybe we will. Maybe we can. So the things about the gyros and things is what I'm looking for is create a touch panel of the things that I have to control once we're up and moving. You know what I mean? It's not so much like when we're in the startup, I actually like using the mouse click, click, click when we're on the ground. But you know what? Maybe for just testing sakes, let's go ahead and see what happens when we do it all. Now, I will tell you one of the things that's going to be super helpful here is if we go to your settings, go to advanced mode, turn on dev mode, then go to tools and behaviors. This will be a very helpful tool. Now, this window comes too, but you don't need that one for what we do here. And then when you look up at something, if you click on it, so notice that the title bar, this is the easiest way to determine if you're in the right spot. If the title bar here turns black, you're clicked into the cockpit. If you clicked on the window, it turns blue. Okay, you want it to be black. Mouse over what you want, hit Control G or Gulf. And you can see that you can get certain interactions and things like that. Like here is what you're looking for. A circuit switch on 57. That is actually what this gyro switch is. And so we would change the value of a circuit switch 57, blah, 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 to whatever it may be. In our case, it would be a K event, though, I believe. But anyway, so keep that in mind, that the behaviors window is extremely helpful for doing this. So first, let's go and let's do our layout. How do we want to do this? So we're definitely going to need buttons. Button, who's got the button? 50 bucks. Maybe not 50 bucks. 50 points. Let's go that, if you can name the movie. And we're going to do maybe something like, should we use the grid? Maybe I could do the grid. And then we can do size to grid cell, and then just sort of build it. Is that how I want to do this? This is always the internal debate that I have constantly, and we can change all this too. How many switches we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10 for just this first row. So we would have to do a 10 grid configuration. Let's see what it looks like. Worst case scenario, we don't like it, right? Where did I see that? Hello. Is it here? I always get these right. Columns. That's going to be a column, right? Let's do 10. That's pretty small, though. Well, let's see how it goes. If we don't like it, we could always try again, right? So we want to size to the grid cell, and you can do 2 by 1, like if you want to do 2 cells, however you want to do this. So there's a couple of different ways you can manipulate this too. But let's do size to grid cell. Okay, so let's double click our button. Let's make our label. And we're going to call this L period space landing. And then let's scroll down here, and we're going to find an icon. I'm just going to use a generic. And I want my rocker switches. Where are you? Vertical rocker switches. Let's do... let's have some fun. Let's use magenta. Magenta. Okay, and we're going to give it a command. And we want SimConnect. There it is. Go to Browse. And we're going to be looking for landing... underscore, nope, wrong button, underscore 1. There it is. Funny enough, it actually appears under the LVARs too. Oh, it's because I'm filtered by LVARs. When did I do that? There we go, B event. So B event, we know we want landing 1 toggle. So let's use that. We're going to hit OK. All right, and then the other thing we do is we want the button to change state. We want that magenta light to come on when the landing light's on. So let's go to enable active state. And we're going to watch type. It's going to be a SimVar. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a SimVar. It could be, you guys will see. It doesn't really matter. Let's go to Browse. Let's give that list a second to populate. It's loading all the lists that it detects right now. No decimals. And again, just like before, let's look for landing. And we're going to be looking for something similar. There it is right there. Nope. Retracted. That's landing gear. That's not it. Ooh, there it is. Lighting, landing, underscore 1. That's it right there. So we're going to hit that, insert token, hit save, and now, if we hit open window, it'll actually open an active window for us, and we can test this entire process. So we'll keep an eye on our landing light, push our button. Oh, we got a light. Click it again. Boom. Excellent. So let's keep going. So what I'm going to do here, because this one's going to be real easy, let's go ahead and copy this one. Well, let's just duplicate it. There we go. And let's drag it right over here. And size to grid cell, we'll lock it in there. And then we're just going to do a couple of edits, right? It's really not hard at this point, especially when you're dealing with things that are like this. So we got our right one. And we're obviously going to change this to 2. And again, 2. That should work. Save. Bring our button box back over. Boop, boop, boom. Perfect. All right, now let's make one for our taxi light. Taxi will probably be pretty close to the same thing as always. Again, I'm just going to hit duplicate. It makes it super easy from here. Size to the grid cell. Change our label here to taxi. And let's get scrolling down here. So now, we're just going to come in here. We want all types for our event. This is the actual triggering of the taxi light. Should just be the K event. And same thing with our monitoring. We're probably just going to use the standard SimConnect version. So we're just going to hit no decimals. And again, I'm going to use taxi. It all depends on our good buddy over at Black Square and what he did here, but usually this is a good bet. Boom! And if you wanted to, we could even change like the icon for maybe the taxi light to where it's different. Maybe it stands out a little bit, right? If you wanted. So like if you wanted to have a little bit of fun with it. Let's have a little bit of fun with it. Let's maybe make this one white. So let's just come down here and let's go to white. Hit save. Come back over here. Boom! And that way you can very clearly identify your different light types, right? Makes it super simple. All right, so what do we got next? Next we have nav, strobe, and pulse. Okay, so let's just do the same thing now. Do we want to skip a spot? Because we had initially talked about doing all 10. We'll leave it. So I'm going to duplicate again. This gets pretty simple from here. And let's see here. Nav and strobe. We're going to use... How do we want to do this? Should we leave it white as well? Oh, we don't want all caps. That would throw everything off. Maybe... What about blue for this one, maybe? For the nav lights? I mean, we could leave them all the same. It really doesn't matter, I guess. But let's go to nav. This is going to be just as easy to find. Oh. It helps if I actually type. Wow. If I knew how to type, toggle nav lights. There we go. And just like before, browse. Give it a second while it pulls that list. And let's look for... Ooh, it's going to be one of the MSFS ones, so hang tight here. Let's go up towards the top. I just saw it. Nav lights. There it is. Save. And again with our panel. Where did our panel go? Did you guys move our panel? Boom. All right. So we could leave that. So this is something sort of like how that would look. Kind of like that for now. We might change that up later, but you guys get the idea. So let's just do a duplicate. Oops. Wrong menu. Oh no. Fit to size. Where did it go? Okay, yeah, no. You belong over here, sir. And then now size to grid cell. There we go. Whoops. All right, so this is going to be strobes, right? So we can just do strobe. And rinse and repeat, guys. This part gets pretty fast from here. Most of these are going to be what you're used to already. Strobes toggle. Same thing here on the SimVar. Strobe lights. And save. Testing. We're good. It did light up. So I'm just going to keep on moving. The pulse lights. Duplicate. Size to grid cell. I think I moved it, but that's all right. And these are going to be pulse. I don't know if pulse has one or not. We might have to dig for this one. We'll see in a second. I don't believe so. Oh, yeah, no. Let's do a check on this one. Make sure that we're clicked into the cockpit. And what do we have? Recog. Okay, that makes sense. And we want toggle recognition lights. Okay, and let's see if the SimVar should be right along the same lines there. Recognition lights. No decimals, although it's not going to hurt it one way or the other. And pulse check. We're good. Lights up. All right. And you guys can see that here. let's get strobes on a different one. We don't want to forget those are on. So let's do these two. I think I want these two on something different, just to mix it up a little bit, make it look a little cooler. Let's do, what do you guys think? Yellow for both of those? Let's do yellow for both of those. I think that'll look nice. That'll blend well with our current scheme we got going on here. So boom, boom, yep. Let us know. Nav lights, taxi lights. Maybe we might even make the nav lights blue. But we'll see. We'll leave that alone for now. Okay. So now for the gyros. They're going to be a bit goofier. So let's go back to this one again because we need that code. Circuit switch is what we're going to be looking for here, right? So let's do a duplicate on this one. Just for now, and we'll change its color and everything. And this one we want to label what we see in the cockpit. Gyro. Let's maybe make these ones green, just simply because we want them to be very clearly different. Or let's go cayenne. Or cyan. Tomato, tomato. Browse, and this is where we're going to be looking for circuit. And what was that? I already forgot what it was. Let's move this over here. Circuit switch 57. Okay, so here's where this gets interesting. So we want to toggle. This part's right. But we're going to change this data to 57. This is where that 57 comes into play. And we're going to hit OK. Okay, now let's just check this for a second, make sure it's working correctly. So let's watch that gyro switch in the airplane. And that did not work. So let's find out why. Because that should have. Looks like that data field did not copy over. I'll fix that. So let's save that. Let's try again. There it goes. Okay. So I'll fix that. That's no biggie. Okay. And let's now go back into our editor. And let's find the variable for that. Now, with these circuit switch, these can be used for just about anything. It's not a dedicated variable like what we're used to seeing here. Okay, and this number can be infinite. It could be circuit switch on 1,280, you know what I mean? So what you want to do is we want to pay attention to this right here. This, notice it's a bool. Notice we have 57. Notice it's an AVAR. So that's where all of this came from. We just manually typed that in. Notice there's no caps locks, anything like that. I just typed that in. So it's, and I'm sorry, I thought I was recording. So it's just A:, A is the variable prefix for sim variable. Okay, it's not a B event, it's not a K event, it's not an LVAR. It is a sim variable or a sim var. So it starts with the A: prefix. Where are we watching? Circuit, switch on, right? And just like we did up here when we bound it, we need to identify what switch we are watching. Now make sure that there's no space or anything like that there. Now notice the units is a bool, just like what we saw in the behaviors, and threshold, anything above 0 really should work for this because 0 is going to be off. Okay, and as long as we do that, when we come back over here, click. Okay, and now the rest of these are going to be very, very simple to set up because they're all going to be the same. So watch this number as we click through these. So for RMI, 58, 59, 60, right? So the cool part is that once you get that first one in, the rest of it's a cakewalk. So let's get these back over here, and we're just going to duplicate, size to grid cell, duplicate, size to grid cell, and duplicate, size to grid cell. And the size to grid cell is just to snap it into place. So we have our gyro here, so now we need to change some of these, right? What is this one? RMI, right? So this one we'll go ahead and capitalize because it's abbreviated. And honestly, knowing me, I'll go back and change them all later. And then the rest of this is super simple. 58, 58, and that's it. Okay, come back over here. Next one. This one's going to be ADI2, ADI2, and this one's going to be 59, right? 59, 59. Save. And the last one is ADI, or HSI2, excuse me. HSI2. And just like before, this one's going to be 60. Oop. Save, save. And click, 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 click. Perfect, right? So now we have all of our overhead panel stuff going. So now we can move down a little bit here. You are not where you belong, sir. Let's fix that one. It's you who's not where you belong. There we go. That's what was wrong. That was bothering the crap out of me, and I was trying to ignore it and just keep moving with the video. I couldn't do it. Okay, so let's get this out of the way, and let's play around with the last ones over here. So our next step here is to take a look at our crash bar. Crash bar is pretty easy. So it's just a matter of how do we want to design the crash bar. Okay. Oh, wrong button. Or wrong field. There we go. We can actually still use this. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate one of these. We're going to come down here and we're going to size... We don't want 3 by 3. That's too much. So let's just size it manually here. Maybe something like that. Okay, so now let's set our crash bar. This one's easy too. So we're just going to title this crash bar. We're going to go down to our Sim Connect picker. Super easy to find. You can tell I thought I was recording earlier again. Hit crash bar. And this is going to bring up the LVAR configuration tool. And what you want to make sure that you select is toggle and hit save. And then we're going to go to our state monitoring, and it's the exact same thing. We're going to be looking for crash bar. And there it is. And you can leave the threshold again at 0.5. Now, we immediately got to red because I have my crash bar up. But if I give it a click, boom, 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 boom. Right? Super simple. Okay. And then now if you want, you can do these other ones here too, you know, your battery, etc. So once we get the crash bar up, the reason why I put the crash bar first is obviously it comes first in the sequence, right? So now we're going to do the same thing for our battery and source selectors. This is where this gets a little bit different. Okay, so now let's set our 3 position switches here. We have the source switch here and the generator here. Now here's the thing about the 3 position switches. We can control the position of the switch, but at the time of this recording, though it is coming, but at the time of this recording, we don't have any 3 position rockers and we don't have any way to monitor 3 position variables yet. It is coming. So just keep that in mind. We'll be able to control the switches just fine, but the state change will only happen once. So here we go. We're just going to take 2 of our buttons again. We're just going to duplicate here, right? Just like we did before. And let's do size to grid cell. Duplicate this one. Size to grid cell. And let's change these up. We're going to go with green on these ones. Again, just to give them... We'll go blue. Why not? Let's go blue. And... Don't ask me why I'm doing these one at a time. I have no idea. But let's get over here. So the next thing is, these are real simple to set up, which is nice though. So we want source is the name of the switch. You can tell I've had my wheel around Black Square for a while. We're going to want LVARs as our search, source as the name, and we're looking for source switch. It's not that one. Where are you? There it is, source switch. That's going to bring up the LVAR configurator, and we have a new feature coming in this release. This next release, this will not be available at the time of this recording. If you're watching this video tonight, this is not out yet, but it will be out within the next 24 to 48 hours. So we're going to go cycle, and we need to set a minimum value, which is going to be, you can see its current value is 0. So it's 0, 1, and 2 are the maximums here. So we're going to go 0 to 2. Okay, step, we only want it to step once. Okay, and then we're going to hit save and close. And we can still monitor at least once. So let's clear that out. And we want browse. And just like before, Looking for source. There's our source switch. No decimals are necessary. Bool is not a bool. We want it to be a number. Hello. Where'd that typing come from? And again, anything over 0.5 will be fine. So we'll hit save. And we can now do, let's test that one. There's 1. There's 2. Back to 0. Okay? So we can still monitor it and control it, but we still need that 1. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing here. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Wrong window is why. I do that all the time. And this one's going to be generator. And we'll leave that as vertical. And just like before, we want LVARs, and this one's just as easy to find. It is specific. Black Square generator switch. And just like we did before, cycle 0 and 2. Save and close. Same thing on the browse or on the monitoring. There it is, Black Square generator switch. No decimals are needed. Wouldn't hurt it if it did though. And we want this to be a number because it is an LVAR. And save again. And just like before. Okay? Simple. All right. So I think the last two we're going to do up here are going to be our starter and our ignition switch. Again, should be super simple. They're both LVARs. So let's just run right through these here. This one's going to be our starter switch. We're going to change the icon to red. Just because of what it is, right? Want to make sure it gets our attention. Black Square starter switch. There it is right there. Same thing as before. This one actually is only a 0 and 1, so we can just do toggle on that one. Save and close. Browse. We're going to be doing the same thing. Black Square starter switch. Again, doesn't matter if you have decimals or not. And save. Come back to this one here. This one is going to be our ignition. Wow. At the end of the day, typing just goes right out the window, man. Red again. Browse. Black Square ignition switch right here. This one is a 3 position, so again, just like before, 0 and 2. Save again. Why is that one already... Did I put that in the wrong spot? No, this is the generator. I'm like, why is there something here? That makes more sense. I don't know why that stopped me. All right, we'll wait for our list. Type ignition. Black Square ignition switch. And let's give these a test. So, just like before. Okay, perfect, right? So the last thing that I really wanted to address here for today are these guys right down here, but I think you guys have the general principle. So I think the last piece I'm going to show you guys is how to broadcast this onto a wireless device if you want. So obviously you've seen that you would put this on a touch screen. I'm going to create another bow of ruttons here, or another bow of ruttons. Did you guys hear that? A bow of ruttons. Oh, mercy, what's happening to me? Okay, let's close that, and let me show you how to broadcast it. So first off, if you want to open it on a browser, you can, but honestly, if it's locally on the computer, open Windows, your best bet. But if we want to hit it from a wireless device, here is the IP address and the port that you want to hit to open up this device. Okay, so literally, I'm going to walk you guys through the steps here, and then you guys will see a screenshot overlay. But I'm opening up a browser on my phone, and now I am typing as my web address. I am typing 192.168.0.245 colon, that's the port, 19862. And I will get a screenshot of that right now. And you guys can now see what that looks like. And I can completely control it from my phone. So if we come back up here. Oh, what was that about? You guys can see there's my mouse, so I'm not moving the mouse. And let's start going through some of this. There's the crash bar down. And I get all the same lighting. All of our configurations that we built here today are all there. Right? And then boom, 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 boom. And it is literally as fast as you guys are seeing it click on and off, that's how fast I'm taking it. So super, super simple, guys. Super simple. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to finish that bottom row up. The only thing that I'll give you guys the heads up on that I know for a fact is your pitot heater will be a little bit different. And the inertial separator is going to be an LVAR. It's going to be another Black Square specific item. But that's how you guys set up your own panels. And you can use them, like I said, on any mobile device or any local touchscreen. And I highly recommend you guys look into touchscreens if you haven't. USB touchscreens have dropped so much in price. Like they really are worth it. I think they're really the way of the future. I mean, look at aircraft like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35. I mean, they're almost completely touchscreen cockpits now. Your A380, you guys get the gist. So it's definitely the way to go. And as always, folks, stay safe and healthy. And if you're interested in trying out Hangar Control, remember, overkillsimulations.com. Make sure you create that account first.